Hey guys, it's Lumen. Today, I'll be talking about how specific cards from Hello Kitty collab will make a significant impact on farming. Normally, I usually do a review on most of the cards, but I decided to deviate from my normal reviews because I felt that an in-depth analysis of certain cards would be much more valuable. Maybe I'll do a follow-up review of the other cards in the future, but for now, let's dive into the main course. Veroah Kitty and Zela Kitty are insane for solo int token button farming because they are direct upgrades to current optimal farming cards in this niche. To get an idea of what I'm talking about, let me first explain what solo int token button farming is. Button farming uses the power of button actives that deal immediate damage to kill enemies and clear the dungeon. Because the actives themselves do damage, the player does not need to combo. This is extremely efficient as it saves the time and mental focus that would normally be required to combo out boards to clear the dungeon. Button farming can be utilized in both solo and co-op, but we will be focusing on solo button farming. Solo button farming has generally seen the most use for farming tokens from int difficulty dungeons. Normally, this would be extremely inefficient as the int difficulty has much lower drop rates than higher difficulties such as mythical or expert. Generally speaking, Mythical has the most efficient token per stamina ratios, especially when farming in co-op. Thus, the standard of ticket farming efficiency is usually co-op Mythical. However, this does not factor in the influence of drop rate modifiers such as dungeon boost and leader skill multipliers. If you want a full rundown of how these work, check out my other video, link is down in the description below. The short version is that they help you get more drops but only in solo play, as they do not function in co-op. While you can utilize drop rate modifiers for all difficulties, the int difficulty is optimal for two reasons: ease and ceiling. Mythical is generally pretty annoying to farm as there are various mechanics and inflated numbers to deal with. Furthermore, since the drop rate is already innately high, there's only so much you can increase the drop rate before it hits the cap of 100%. Int, on the other hand, usually has no mechanics and the health thresholds are low enough to be buttoned. It can also fully abuse maximum amounts of drop rate modifiers without hitting the drop rate ceiling of 100%. With enough dungeon boosts and leader skill multipliers, int button builds can eclipse co-op mythical button swipe builds in terms of efficiency, depending on the dungeon. This is why you hear about cards like Super Reincarnated Ra, Super Reincarnated Ritra, Saline, Christmas Saline, Veroah, Night Kisaragi, Typhon card, Ramamoa, etc. They are all insane int button farming cards. Currently, optimized int button builds generally feature double leader skill multipliers and 14 dungeon boosts. Veroah Kitty and Zela Kitty will revolutionize solo token button farming because they are accessible farming tools that will improve upon existing optimal builds. Currently, the only leader skill multipliers belong to two cards, Veroah and Night Kisaragi. While Veroah is usually untradeable, Night Kisaragi can be obtained through the monster exchange for 5 6-star GFE. However, he does not have any dungeon boost, which is why Veroah is superior with her 1 dungeon boost. Veroah Kitty, on the other hand, can be obtained for the same monster exchange requirements while having up to 3 dungeon boosts. Thus, the cosplaying cat is equally accessible but far more effective as a lead, as she will improve the drop rates of existing builds by 8% on average. As for Zela Kitty, her main value lies in her combination of 4 skill boosts, 3 dungeon boosts, and an active cooldown of 9 turns. The only other card with 4 skill boosts and 3 dungeon boosts is Christmas Saline, but her cooldown is 10 turns longer. A shorter cooldown is valuable because it greatly increases the variety of button inherits that can be used. For example, multi-ping buttons like V Nightmare and Jubei Yagyu have become incredibly valuable for getting through floors with resolves, but the cooldowns are slightly inconvenient with current setups involving Christmas Saline. With Zela Kitty, these problems no longer exist. I think the best way to contextualize the value of Veroah Kitty and Zela Kitty is to frame their value in the most lucrative int button dungeon, Gung Ho Collab. Current optimal builds either utilize full button setups with 14 dungeon boosts or utilize 4 ping full board swipes with 20 dungeon boosts. With the cooldown reduction buff for Saline, teams can now full button with 18 dungeon boosts or 1 ping full board swipe with 24 dungeon boosts. On average, this results in an additional bronze ticket per run, which means an extra P every 9 runs. TLDR, if you farm tokens/tickets via in-button builds, you should probably roll or trade for Veroah Kitty and take a long, hard look at Zela Kitty. While Saline Kitty does have a lot of dungeon boosts, her value actually lies somewhere completely different. Saline Kitty enables full swipe builds for Training Arena 3 that guarantees level 111 to level 120 in 3 runs. Let me explain her value in detail. Training Arena 3, officially known as Hellish Training Arena, the Divine Song of Yamato, is the premier farming dungeon for monster experience, as a single clear will yield a staggering 50 million monster EXP split across the whole team. However, if a card cannot receive its share of monster experience because it is at maximum level, then its experience share will be redistributed to the rest of the team. Thus, farming builds use 5 of the 6 team slots to clear the dungeon and leave 1 spot open, known as the leveling slot, to level whatever card one desires to level. Since the rest of the team is maxed out, the leveling slot takes the whole cake of 50 million monster EXP. Current farming builds use multiple copies of Gojo Satoru or Dai to swipe either boards or rows to deal massive amounts of damage. However, neither are full systems and require haste to clear the dungeon. Gojo also has issues with damage, requiring enhanced orbs at times to reach the required damage threshold. Saline Kitty forms a full swipe system with 5 copies and has enough personal damage to reach required damage thresholds with tons of light row equips. What makes Saline Kitty so insane is her dungeon boost. See, Super Limit Break requires feeding 5 Super Snow Globes, which provides 20 million monster EXP. Leveling from 111 to 120 requires 200 million monster EXP, so after feeding the Super Snow Globes, assuming no Great or Super, 180 million monster EXP is required to reach level 120. Since each run of Training Arena 3 provides 50 million monster EXP, leveling to max requires 4 runs. However, if each run was improved to 60 million monster EXP, it would only take 3 runs. But how do you increase monster experience yields? That's right, it's through dungeon boosts. Hopefully by the end of this video, you will realize that dungeon boosts are the most ungodly awakening in the game. Not only do dungeon boosts improve drop rates, they also increase monster experience yields by 2%. Since 2% of 50 million monster EXP is 1 million, you would need 10 dungeon boosts to reach the 60 million monster EXP threshold. Since a Saline Kitty swipe system involves 5 copies and each one has 2 dungeon boosts, well, I hope you remember your multiplication facts. It's because of the dungeon boost that I believe Saline Kitty will remain immune to power creep for at least a year. I'm sure other system builds for Training Arena 3 will come along, but none will reach the holy grail of 10 dungeon boosts. TLDR, Saline Kitty is broken for Training Arena 3, but you need 5 copies or 4 copies plus a friend's copy. And that's my analysis on Veroah Kitty, Zela Kitty, and Saline Kitty. See you in the next event, and as always, good luck and have fun.